Happy Tuesday, everyone. I hope you're all doing fantastic. Today I am super happy. Why? Because I get to open up a box from the Game Crafter. So I know exactly what's in this box. I've been anticipating this box. The size of this box indicates exactly what is coming. I've been working on some of the Tin Robot games, games that are coming kind of down the pipe. One is Planting Evidence. This is a card game where you are planting evidence against your opponents. They're planting evidence against you. You're trying to build up the alibis to offset those points. Just a fun game. And we've noticed through our play testing that we need to add another category to that. So I'm hoping that that's in this box. Likewise, we've been working on the next print of Tanks, but No Thanks. So Tanks But No Thanks is the first board game that we launched on Kickstarter. This was almost 3 years ago now, I guess. And we are almost out of stock. So there's a lot of things that I've learned over the past couple of years in game design and what works better for Kickstarter and so forth. And so I've had these thoughts as to what I wanted to change in that game when we do our second edition print. Also trying to decide whether we do another Kickstarter on that for the second run, or if we just produce it. The minimums are quite high, so I might actually have to do a Kickstarter on that. But the hope is that we'll have this expansion ready for the beginning of next year. So one of the things in that expansion should be in this box as well. So I'm very, very excited to do this box opening. If you watch our Board Game Binge podcast, just a reminder tonight, we are interviewing the Delve Brothers. I know typically we do our interviews on Monday, but because of the holiday here in Canada, we pushed it to Tuesday. And then we've got Brant, the developer behind Oros, on Thursday. We're going to interview him at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Very excited. Hope you join us for that. All right. Without further ado, my friends, go to the box cam. We'll use our scalpel. Try not to cut myself. And again, this box came from the Game Crafter. TheGameCrafter.com is a site I use often for creating prototypes. If you want your prototypes to look really slick, so if you're trying to get people to play test your game, you don't have to create official prototypes to play test. But certainly once you've kind of worked out the mechanics of your game, it's not a bad idea to use stock art or whatever you can find online to kind of pretty up the graphics and make something more visually appealing. You'll have a lot more people that'll want to try to play that game, play test with you, and take it seriously. So, all right. Let's see what JT at the Game Crafter has sent me here. I'll watch the mic. So you might look at this and say, wow, there's not a lot in this box, but there is actually quite a bit. So I'm going to go through both these things. Get excited already. It's got a sneak peek. So let's get this out of the way. Boom. Box across the room. All right. So one thing we did in Planted Evidence that there's different categories of cards you're trying to match up. You're trying to match up fingerprint partials. You're trying to match up DNA segments. You're trying to plant weapons that you've found on your opponents. And what we found is that there's too many of each card where people were able to go out in some cases on the first round, especially if you're playing with 2 players. 3 or more players, that wasn't really an issue, but with 2 players, definitely you had to remove some of the cards from the deck. Otherwise, one person is pretty much just laying all their cards down right out of the gate. So we decided to create another category, which is the... interesting. I'm going to comment on this in a second. So we want to add another category, which was license plate partials. So what I have here is you've got, you're trying to match up a license plate. So if you can get down all 4 pieces of the license plate, you can plant that as evidence down on your opponent. Now, one thing I was hoping to do was to just make those cards and add them to the current 6 decks that we had as prototypes made. But one thing I can tell right away by feeling these is these are thinner than the ones we had before. So let me just open up my little box here. They are thinner. Damn it. Well, I'll try to shuffle them in and see how they do, if it's too noticeable. I'm hoping I can just include them in the current deck. But the paper does feel a little bit thinner than the first round I had, so I don't know if they'll mix in. We'll see. But bottom line, even if I can't use those and I have to print another deck, what I would say is the quality of their cards are very good. So what you can see here is these are, I just used some stock photography off of online to create these different license plate partials. They're all from a BMW, different angles. This one's got like a sign in front of it, so you can only catch part of the license plate. But what I really like about the Game Crafter is this is the kind of quality you would have coming out of the game box if you bought a game at that shelf. And they're very good at actually selling small run games even on their website. So if you want to go and buy an independent game that's in very, very low circulation, you can find it on their site. You might be one of 10 people that own a particular game that's on their site, which is really cool. So you can find some little hidden gems on their site. If you are a game developer like I am, it is just a awesome tool for doing prototypes and making your games look slick. Here's the cards we had ordered before, and you can see when you're playing at the table, it's an actual deck of cards. It looks like a finished game. Now we're going to do some tweaks on that. Some things I like to get, especially with cards, I like to get a prototype run done so I have them tangibly in my hand, because there's always stuff that comes up when I have the physical game in my hand that I say, oh, I need to change that, or I need to change that, where you just don't get in a digital format. So it is good to have at least a couple prototype runs done through a low cost site like the Game Crafter to get a low run done. You can literally print one deck of your game, but it allows you to really kind of work out the kinks before you go to kind of mass production and so forth. So kudos to them for that. So I'm very excited. Tonight I am going to include that in my game. All right. What I was the most excited for was this, is I've never actually ordered a game board from Game Crafter. This is the first time, so this is going to be a new experience for me. But what this is this is a quad fold board. So by quad fold, you go like this, and then you open it up like this. I'm going to try to do it with the thing hit me. People laugh at me that the excited look I get on my face when I open up stuff, but holy crap, does this look awesome. Good God, man. Let me get this out of the way. JT Smith, I'm speechless, buddy. Wow. Wow. Holy crap, is this good quality. All right, I'm getting a little teary-eyed. All right, let me open up my Tanks But No Thanks box. So for those of you who know this game, and those of you who don't, hopefully you get to learn a little bit more about Tanks But No Thanks. This is the original board that we did in our Kickstarter campaign. And one of the things it was based on kind of an initial game I created on a cookie sheet 20 some odd years ago. And at that time I used Excel to create like a grid. So I still had in my mind to do this real kind of grid type pattern where you have the different colors, much like the original game. But what I found when we did this Kickstarter, then afterwards in promoting this to a lot of retailers, a lot of people kind of got caught up in this checkerboard pattern, feeling like I looked a little bit too much like an advanced checkers type of a game. There's actually a lot of strategy in the game. There's a lot of fun, and there's some randomness in it as well, makes it an awesome game. But when you compare that to seeing an actual like map like this, it just looks awesome. My God. Now, this is only going to be one side. When we do the reprint of this, the idea is we're going to have a 4-player on one side of the board, and you flip over the board, and on the other side you'll have the 3-player. The 3-player will look like this. It utilizes hexagons instead of squares. The game right now plays very well with 2 players, 4 players, because everyone is kind of equidistant from each other. We have a 3-person version where you have to kind of MacGyver a bit the pieces. So you got 2 guys taking corners, 1 person taking kind of the other end. It's kind of equidistant-ish, but there's usually 1 person that's at a bit of a disadvantage or an advantage. So I wanted to get away from that, and I wanted to have a game, a version of the game where the side of the board is perfectly equidistant between the 3 players, and that's what this is. So the 3 players will set up themselves on the boards. They're all exactly the same distance away. It involves hexagons instead of squares. So instead of having 8 directions of movement, you only have now 6. And quite candidly, we haven't play tested it with the hexagons, so I can do it online. You guys can check this out on GameCrafter right now. GameCrafter tanks, but no thanks. There's the 2 4-person version on there. There's also the 3-person version on there. Go on there, check it out, and you can see it there. But we want to have something physical to actually play with. So you got your bases that fit on there. Get the tanks out. Tanks fit in the hexagons perfect. And that was one thing I wanted to figure out was, could I fit everything on the board? So, man, this looks awesome. Anyway, getting too excited. So that's a quick little box opening for everyone. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Again, props to the GameCrafter. You guys are awesome. I found out actually afterwards is what you can do if they have, like, I forget the name of it. It's like a developer area you can go into where someone is assigned to your case. And so say if I wanted to actually have this be a double-sided board, I could have done that. I think it costs a little bit more, and you'd have to go through, like, get one of their reps to actually help you because it's something custom beyond what you can do on their site. But most stuff you can self-service through their site. All these cards I've created self-service through the site. This board self-service through the site. There's a contest coming up on small box contest that they're running. So any game you can cram into a small box, which is roughly like this size. Then in September they're doing a kind of a developer contest for that. I think we'll probably put Planting Evidence in that because I think it's a good game for that. But yeah, guys, keep your eyes peeled. Tonight, join us. Again, the Delve Brothers, they've got a Kickstarter campaign running right now. Board game conventions. These guys are YouTubers. I've seen them create video games in a weekend. Just a cool bunch of guys. Can't wait to chat with them tonight. And again, Brant, the game developer behind Oros on Thursday, we're going to be talking to. So it's going to be a lot of fun this week, just chatting with a lot of people. A lot of great content. Anyway, everybody, hope you have a great day.